I'm back and I'm doing part 2 of the Q&A because your questions are really great and some of you have been answering others' questions and I love that. We need to share stories. We all can teach each other. It's important to me that we all can share and make sure that we find comfort and know we're not alone in the pain, since it can be very isolating. So back to the questions. Nana is the originator of the hashtag AskGang, which I love. Nana asked, would I recommend taking at least a week off from work? My answer is yes, but that's the cut and dry answer. The gray answer, the one answer that's not so black and white, is that yes, but I don't know what your work schedule is like. I don't know what kind of time off folks out there can take, and it depends on the procedure that you're having. You might have the LIS, which supposedly heals faster, and pain relief can be pretty quick. But with the physiectomy, I needed more than a week to recover. I had at least 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks out, maybe even 4 weeks, almost a month out. My days were being planned around my bowel movements. I would have my bowel movement, I would do my soaks. I had to soak 3 times a day in a hot bath. And then I would basically just be resting almost more than half a day. And then in the evening, I could get up and do things. It was very difficult. It was very difficult. And it was hard on the mind and soul having to be somewhat bedridden for that amount of time. But I definitely needed at least a week to be able to function. I needed more. What would I recommend eating? High fiber, so fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and beans. Lots of beans. What I would stay away from: meat, dairy, processed sugar, processed grains, like white bread, even rice noodles, things like that, the white flour noodles. Stay away from those things. And I'm not recommending that just because I'm vegan. I'm recommending it because the high fiber is so important, and the low fiber is probably dietarily what got us all into trouble in the first place. On top of that, hydration, so much hydration. I was drinking 3 to 5 bottles, 33-ounce bottles a day in order to keep myself hydrated and also to battle the constipation that came with using painkillers. So that is a ton of water. It's like almost 150 ounces of water a day that I was drinking at a time. I was also doing like the 8-ounce glasses of Metamucil drinks. Like I have little Metamucil packets. I would put like one of those and drink like 3 of those a day on top of all the water that I was drinking too. My body could tolerate that, but please be careful with hydration because there is a dangerous condition that's basically water inebriation. You can drink too much water and cause edema of the brain, which can be very dangerous. So please don't overdo it, but definitely make sure you're staying very hydrated. But there's also lots of foods like soups. I did eat a lot of soup after the surgery because I was fearful of how everything would feel coming out. I'm now in a place where I don't worry about that anymore. Again, I'm back with a good relationship with food, but I did have issues getting back to that point. It was scary because I was always trying to figure out, wow, what's this gonna feel like coming out? And the last question, should I be driving? Well, I'll tell you what, driving was one of the last skills I was able to get back after the surgery. The way my car seat was shaped and the way my ass is probably structured, I don't know why, but it felt like I was sitting right on my asshole in the car, and it was uncomfortable. I live in a city where you have to move the cars like at certain times of the day, on certain days of the week, and I did that, and I had to sit in the car until I could find a parking spot. I sat in that car for about an hour, and I was just pale and white and felt so sick from the pain after doing that. So it's up to what your body can do. And all of this advice, everybody's body is going to be different, it's going to heal different, and we had different doctors working on this, so our mileage is going to vary on this. again. But that was my experience, and I was able to drive after 2 months, but I had to work up to it, and I would do a short trip here and see how that went, and if that went okay, then I'd do a longer trip. Like, I worked up to it because the last thing I wanted to do was to be in that kind of pain again and out on the road. Nana also asked some follow-up questions, which was how much pain was I in prior to the surgery? Pretty bad. I had the problem after being scoped. I had massive swelling and bleeding and pain from being scoped because they did not use enough lube. It's recommended from my surgeon to make sure that they lube up in the beginning and then stop halfway and lube up again in order to keep from the hard plastic from the scope creating friction on the delicate mucosa of the asshole that will tear and get inflamed from the friction, which is what happened to me. What happened after that? I ate something. I think it was like I ate a big plate of pad thai, a huge plate of it, and it had a lot of rice noodle, a lot, and I had massive constipation from that, and I felt like I was giving birth through my asshole. It was awful. I was tearing myself and tearing that fissure wide open trying to get that out, and I had to use an enema to finish the task. Like, you gotta attack it from the front, a direct strike, and blast that sucker out of there. In the beginning, when I had my first incident of constipation that bad, I tried the stool softener and laxative, and it was awful because it felt like it was just dissolving it from the back, but the front was still plugged, and all it did was just trigger my body's involuntarily like peristalsis to try to just keep on like pushing it out, and it wouldn't go, and I was just in the most torturous agony trying to get this goddamn cannonball out of my ass. And then finally, once it passes, I feel like it did so much damage on the way out that it's one of the reasons why I'm in the spot I'm in now. Incidents like that have probably happened maybe 3 to 4 times in my lifetime, but that's all it took. So yeah, I had one of those incidences right before the surgery, so I was really ready. I was ready for this because I kind of knew when I was trying to pass that turd, I knew, like, hey, well, any damage I do this time, they can just fix it up. Yeah, I was in a lot of pain right before. Hours of pain after a BM. Well, before the surgery, it would be days upon days, and then every bowel movement I had after that would just keep the pain going. It was just a cycle. I just felt like it would never heal. And eventually, over the 8 years, I would have episodes like that, and eventually it would heal and I'd be normal for a while, but then either something I ate or I got too dehydrated or too stressed, and boom, I would be back in pain, spasms, bleeding, be back in that cycle again. And then the scar tissue would heal everything up until the next episode, and boom, pain, bleeding, constipation, stress, all of that was back to the drawing board again. And that was it for 8 years. Did I have lots of blood in the toilet? Yes, sometimes. Not always. Most of the time it was like fresh blood. Like if you have a nosebleed, it looked like, I'd wipe and it looked like I had a nosebleed on the tissue. So I would have that a lot. And occasionally I'd have one that would like turn the water kind of pinkish red, but it was, and that was kind of scary too. But I never had the type of bleeding where it looked like I just pooped blood into the toilet, and I don't know if that's anything any of you have experienced. So if any of you have, please feel free to comment and let us know, because I'm sure the other people who might have that experience would probably like to know the answer to that. Do I have significant straining to pass a BM through a tight sphincter? I did before, now I don't, since I had the Botox. The Botox was great because it did relax it and it felt amazing. And for the first time in my life, I actually understood what it meant to relax into a bowel movement. I think my whole life, I've always strained to push through my tight ass, basically. It had always been straining, it always kind of just pushed them out. But now I realize, because of the Botox, couldn't push. I just had to relax into it. And also the pain. You didn't want to push against pain, so you just relaxed into it and just let it be. Whatever was going to happen was going to happen, and it worked. However, in the beginning, when I was on painkillers and there was constipation and it was like those hell weeks, I had to push to get stuff out. There was no way, no relax, because there was so much swelling. There was no way it was just going to drop out of me. But as time went on, that became the case because the Botox was pretty awesome. And in a way, the Botox trained me how to relax into a bowel movement, which really helped. So if you are dealing with like a tight sphincter muscle, again, talking to the surgeon's helpful because you might need the LIS. I don't know, but what I do know is that I did have to train myself a bit psychologically and mentally, and like to relax in spite of the pain. There's a lot of pain acceptance going on there. That okay, it's gonna hurt, but just stay relaxed and just let it go. And then I knew that that it was okay, that this was an area that was supposed to bleed, it was an area that was supposed to open and close, and that it was an open wound that's just slowly healing itself, and that you want blood flow, and that having bowel movements help because it helps keep it from developing scar tissue, and it keeps the area dynamic and moving. You don't want to not poop because then you won't reinvigorate that area, it won't get the blood flow, and then it won't heal, and it can cause other problems. It's hard, you gotta kind of work against, you gotta face the fear, you gotta face the pain, and the only way out is through it. So there is a bit of mental gymnastics and mental training going on in this process. At least there was for me, and I highly recommend working on that as a skill set when pooping, relaxing into it in spite of pain. Don't try to push, literally, like don't try to push, just relax into it. I hope that can help. I don't know, because all of us have different tonality of our sphincters, and I'm not sure where mine falls on that scale. Alright, so moving on to the next video. Got a lot of good activities and questions being answered. Thank you. I think it was Julian Arnold even on it, and it's awesome. Golden Age says, I hope you feel better. Thank you. I do feel better, Golden Age. Thank you very much. Jay Cardoso, 2 months after fissurectomy, have spasms. Your question is, what is the normal time after fissurectomy to feel healed? So again, it took me 2 months to start feeling normal, and then even then I still had problems with swelling, and I still had to treat the surgical site with this ointment that helped with both swelling and itching, and also prevented fungal infections. So at least 2 months, but I was able to poop fairly, I wouldn't say easy, I still had pain, it just wasn't unbearable pain. Here, Julian Arnold advises that it can take longer than an LIS, a fissurectomy, and average is 10 weeks, which is true, and I definitely feel that's a very true statement, because again, I was 8 weeks, and even then, I was still having pain. Wasn't having so much with the bleeding, but I still was having pain, and I also was having the swelling. So I think it's a true statement. So you could give it more time, and then always check back with your doctor. The doctor should definitely still be, I'm hoping your doctor will be open to questions and being able to answer any of your concerns. If not, perhaps their second opinion might be needed. Julian Arnold also recommends a second opinion. Good job, Julian. I agree. That's it. It looks like that's all the questions so far. I might go through and answer some of your questions more individually, but I definitely am really happy to see the activity. I'm really hoping you guys all are having smooth recoveries, and again, no complications, and be sure to always confer with your doctors, please. And if you don't trust your doctor's opinion, get a second opinion. It's a big deal. It's our assholes. It does a really important job. We need to take care of them and talk about them, even though it's socially taboo to do it. I'll just try to break that a little bit here. So thank you guys for participating in that. And I think I should be having some more videos come up. I do have one more video because there's someone that wrote me an email from far away that had very good questions that I haven't answered in these in this, and that I would like to get to there as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, #AskGang, for supporting one another and supporting me. Thank you for the well wishes that have come in as well. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. I think I didn't miss anyone. If I did, comment, let me know, and I will address it in another video. But for now, may your bathtubs be very hot, and I mean hot, hot as you can tolerate, not warm, hot. And may you be fully hydrated and your food full of fiber, and I will be making more videos outside of talking about assholes soon. I have like a really great idea for my first video essay that I'd like to present to you guys, see what you think, and then I will yeah, see you guys in the next video. And this is so sad. I can't do my outro too as it hurts. So going to outro. Dilator. Oh, the things that we Google.